Hi everyone. Tonight with the Gauntlet, we are playing Heist, a Forged in the Dark game by Ali Bastille. It's a one-shot game about a heist, obviously. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm running the game. And let's get a quick intro from our players and their characters. Let's do that in character keeper order, left to right. So starting with Jake.
Hello, yeah, I'm Jake, and he, him, playing Arthur, the talker of the bunch. Bit of a chancer, bit of an old hand in the game, always looking to get out of the game, but looking always to get out after the one big score that's going to change everything, so he can get back to a normal, peaceful life with his family, who otherwise don't want to have much to do with him, because he's a bit of a dodgy geezer. That's his deal.
I'm Clint, he, him. I am playing Scoot McHammer. Please don't call me MC Hammer. That's completely different. He gets very upset when you call him MC Hammer. He's a machinist. He's very good at welding things together and blowing them apart. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth, she, her. I am a relatively new player to the Gauntlet, 2 months in, and exploring all these new games I've never heard of. First time playing this type of game. I am playing Anastasia Godfrey Graham, playing the widow or widower archetype. And Anastasia was married to a prominent senator, U.S. senator from New York. She herself is from a small town in New York. She wasn't involved in public life or political life. That was her husband's domain. When he died, there were many unsavory and unflattering secrets revealed. One of them was a huge debt that she is now responsible for, and this unexpected obstacle has forced her to engage in behaviors that she would have found completely impossible to imagine herself doing. And I'm looking forward to playing with everyone today.
Great, thanks, Elizabeth. And finally, John.
Hey, I'm John. I use he, him pronouns. I'll be playing Song Hoon. He is a international student studying art, and he also publishes an online comic that he is quite proud of about monster fighting university kids. He is the tourist, so he is not a criminal by nature or anything, but he has a vested interest in this job, which I think we'll be talking more about and discovering more about, because I only have a moderate idea in my head.
Okay, great. So, yeah, the heist that we have created together for tonight's game is, a new fourth statue has appeared next to the Wall Street Bull and Bear, along with the little girl, and it's that statue that you are looking to steal. So yeah, I wanna figure out, find out together, exactly what has brought the group together. Is this something that Arthur has put together as final one last job, or is this something that you have a patron who's especially interested in this? What do you think, Jake?
I think this might be something that Arthur has put together as the last job. Definitely bringing in Scoot, who is talented, if erratic, and maybe then bringing in some other people as well.
So like when the group comes together, right? You've got to have some, I don't know, back room in a cafe or something like that you have to meet everyone. What's the setup?
I think we meet in the upstairs room of an Irish themed pub, and kind of get everyone together in a little hired space over a quiet pint.
Okay, cool. And obviously, you and Scoot have worked together in the past, or has he just come highly recommended?
I think. What do you think, Scoot? I feel like maybe we've got a working relationship.
Yeah, I feel like you've been my my boss on a number of scores, and I may or may not know that this is your final one.
I think that's something I'm probably keeping to myself, actually.
Okay, cool.
I think. Or maybe I'm bragging about it, actually. I don't know. Sorry. Carry on.
That's up to you, right?
I have a question for, I'm sorry, Jonathan, for your character's name. Where's the sheet?
Yeah, Sung Hoon.
Okay, with Sung Hoon. Am I saying that right? You said he has a comic?
Yeah.
Online? And maybe I was a big fan of your comic somehow, and that's how we ended up like connecting with you.
Do you think there was like some sequence in the comic or some panel in the comic that you saw and said this would totally work on a job?
Yeah, maybe. What's your comic about?
So I was just riffing that maybe it's like, Monster Hunter University students, but I think it could totally be something that's like, since he's an international student studying in New York, probably features heavily New York and features a lot of the like New York landmarks and things. And so maybe there was, a series down in the financial district or something around, and about, university kids having to sneak into places where they don't belong.
Yeah. I think maybe like Scoot, there's something in your comic book that you created just because you're a creator, some lore about New York City that for some reason Scoot has totally bought into and thinks is real. Like underneath this area, there's like not buried treasure, but like, something that he wants to get because he read it in a book. So it's real.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Cool.
And how about Anastasia? Has she got contacts on Wall Street? Obviously that backstory of debt is great, but did her or her late husband have contacts on Wall Street that are going to pay dividends on this job?
Yeah, I was thinking that she still has contacts in the political world, and she has a connection to Wall Street through her husband since he represented New York, and Wall Street is a powerful constituent. And there is anger in the Wall Street community about that little girl being there in front of the bull, since for almost 200 years the bull was standing by itself, and Wall Street is a conservative traditional area. They're not happy about having this marker standing there representing feminism and the future is female, and they would love to see it gone. And that's kind of trickled to me, though I don't support that viewpoint.
I wonder if Arthur and Anastasia came upon each other, if Anastasia found herself compelled to sell some art to kind of try and get by in this debt-ridden circumstance. I feel Arthur could potentially have had a line as a semi-legit art dealer.
Yeah, if that sounds good. If your reputation is someone who can get rid of things quickly and not ask too many questions as to
Exactly.
why or the provenance, then that's perfect. And you
So-
pay in cash, perfect.
Yeah.
Non-consecutive small bills, heavy as they are. So could it be maybe that meeting with moving that art gave Arthur the idea for this last job, that this piece of art is definitely a big earner.
Yeah, I think this is the big one that's going to go beyond just skimming a few dollars off the top of dodgy transactions.
Okay, yeah. So I guess you're upstairs in this small kind of function room of this Irish pub, and maybe Arthur and Scoot are already there, and in walks Sung Hun. Like, what does Arthur make of this kid?
I think he just sort of leans over to Scoot and just goes, "So this is the guy?"
Yeah, man, he's got the most crazy knowledge of the underbelly of New York. You would have no idea. He knows so much.
He better. He doesn't have the face of experience to me, but all right, we'll see.
Oh well, yeah. He knows all about this like ancient ghost subway station that I really want to check out.
Oh, I should have asked for more details. Sung Hoon, is it?
Turn my head, see Scoot and someone. Oh, hey! I'll walk over and take my seat, and I feel like I'll probably have a couple pints of like Guinness in front of you, and I'm just gonna eye it and be like, "Do they have a drink menu? I that's a little dark for me."
Yes. Slide over the grease-stained, laminated sort of little folded drinks menu that I imagine has on it about 6 real ales, and on the back about 6 lagers.
And I'm scanning it. I don't see Red Bull. Scoot, what kind of place is this? Okay, it's fine. I'll make it work.
It's as close as you're going to get to a proper boozer over here.
And how about Anastasia? What's her entrance like?
She's been invited by Arthur. She'll probably come a little bit late by car and driver. And this is out of game, but I work in the Wall Street area. I know the pub that we're talking about. I've been there before. This is all very familiar territory for me. So in my mind, I'm picturing it, and I have been in the private room upstairs in this pub before.
I'm shocked to learn that there's Irish pubs in New York. Absolutely shocked.
That's yeah. Yeah, so I will walk in. It's the kind of place that's used to seeing people in suits, and nobody pays much attention. Everyone, the tables are full downstairs, but full of corporate-looking Wall Street traders and other finance folk. And I walk through. Nobody really looks at me. Arthur has told me to meet him upstairs, and I walk upstairs and see the 3 gentlemen in front of me. It's not quite what I was expecting. Arthur, how good to see you again.
Arthur is all charm at this point, completely switches it on, just up. "Oh, Anastasia, my dear." The kiss on both cheeks. got you a glass of the one decent Sauvignon Blanc they do in this place.
Oh, you know me so well. How nice of you to remember.
Please, have a seat.
And who are your colleagues?
Oh, you see, this distinguished gentleman here is Scoot McHammer. Probably shouldn't go for full name. Sorry, Scoot. This is just Scoot. Call him Scoot. And he knows his way around anything that's got moving parts or needs having those moving parts taken apart, if you know what I'm saying.
Hello.
And this fine gentleman is Sung Hoon, with whom I've just become acquainted.
Delighted.
And I think Sung stands up and like he has to like kind of wipe his hand on his pants because he's a little sweaty, and all these adults, y'all are so much older than him and kind of intimidating. You look like a proper businesswoman. It's just like, oh hi, yeah, I'm Sung Hoon. I go to the university here.
Oh, are you at Columbia or NYU?
NYU. Yeah.
Wonderful. What are you studying? International finance, business?
Actually, I'm an art major. I have like a webcomic. I don't know. I spend a lot of time looking at maps and things in New York too. I guess that's kind of why I'm here. Yeah. He sits back down.
That's a good question. Why are we here?
Well, I think Sung Hoon is maybe a little bit more plugged into the local artistic scene than many others. Apart from myself, of course, I keep my finger on the pulse as much as I can, but don't think it will have escaped any of your notices. The latest uproar that has arisen around the installation of that exciting new art piece just down there by the bull. We're going to take it.
Are we going to take the bull too and the girl, or just the new piece?
In for a penny, in for a pound.
All right.
I feel like we might as well just take the lot.
I think people would notice. It's quite conspicuous.
That, my dear, is why I have assembled here this team of experts and other theoreticians of the craft who might be able to help us devise some way of masking the disappearance, or at the very least, hiding it as something else.
Mm-hmm.
What is this third object? This is out of game talk. What is it? The statue of what?
So we've got a bull and a girl, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to think
And then
of
there's
what.
and then there's a third piece.
Yeah, what is
Okay.
that third piece? Kind of want it to
Maybe
be
it's
something.
oh, go ahead.
I think I kind of want it to be something bigger than the bull, like a refrigerator. Like
That
a
wouldn't be
cast
bigger
iron,
than the bull.
like it'd be a big refrigerator.
I think it'd want to be like an industrially sized
Yeah.
refrigerator, like a walk-in refrigerator, to be bigger than a bull.
Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is a some kind of vegetarian comment. Maybe it is a gigantic meat freezer
Yeah.
that has been built around the bull. Does that make any sense?
Oh, I do like that. Like it's been like you can still see the bull if you're looking at it from one way. The rest of it's just this giant, like almost like barn, but it's a cast iron metal meat locker.
Maybe with those like the kind of hanging plastic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The little
Hooks.
straps.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, not a small thing, not something you're going to be fitting in a suitcase or
Right.
even even a trolley. I think will have trouble moving this thing. So yeah, be ambitious with your thieving. Okay. So yeah, I think we've got a good introduction, right, to the crew and why you've come together, unless anyone wants to add anything else. Okay. So so we don't do like a whole plan at this stage. We just do like the first step of the plan to get the whole. Yeah, no real need to go into details or anything, like just the idea of where you start and the situation you're in, and then we roll a 3d6 to kind of see exactly how much trouble or not trouble that you're in with an engagement roll. So yeah, any ideas on this?
I had a quick question, actually. Do our characters know about the rival overseas gang, or is that something that like just comes up later?
I think maybe to leave it up to you, whether you know about it or not.
The thing I'm thinking about is so with Sung Hoon, right? The vested interest is basically right keeping the identity of the street artist that installed this secret. So I'm thinking maybe there's some sort of like overt threat that, you know, online there's at least conspiracy postings or something saying that like someone intends to reveal, you know, the true identity. I don't know. I feel like I want to give this artist a name, but I can only think of Banksy. Well, someone intends to reveal the artist's name, right, as part of whatever else is going on. Maybe we don't know it's a full heist. But I do think maybe it makes sense to have that at least established from the get-go as part of that's part of why Sung Hoon's here, right? Is
so it could be that I guess like you're definitely aware of the threat, right, or the rival gang, the rival group going on, and I guess this is do we think the rest of the crew should know, or are you going to keep it under your hat for now?
No, he would make a point to be like, you know, he would have questioned Arthur and the team of like, well, we're not gonna like out this person, right? Like that's not what we're about, like, but and like I feel like he would have convinced himself by helping steal it before anyone else can mess with it, we're protecting this artist's identity.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay, how does that sound? That, you know, there's going to be a threat, and it's obviously going to reveal itself at some stage, and maybe people will be surprised, or maybe they won't. Maybe they suspected this was going on all along. Cool. Okay.
Is this the artist of the large structure, barn frame, whatever we're calling it, over the bull that we're protecting the identity of? Since the other two artists are well known. Are we?
Yeah,
not?
I think
Okay.
I think we're talking about the fictional art, right?
All right. Okay.
Is the one we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Ivan, got any kind of first steps of the plan that we want to aim towards?
And does this start where we're actually like executing the plan, or?
Yeah, so basically the engagement role kind of cuts us through all the rest of the planning and all the setup and kind of gets to where things get interesting, right? So this could be, you know, based on like the underground pieces that were mentioned earlier for the webcomic. Like we could start off underground, about to like dig up, or start with some kind of a maintenance cover of the, you know, being there apparently legitimately, or you know, whatever it is, just the kind of the key detail of the plan that gets us to the action.
Shoot, I mean, just without trying to like plan far ahead, because I know that's not the point of this, but we still kind of need to have like an idea of what we're doing, because this is like a bolted down heavy structure.
Yeah.
So like, are we gonna just try to like rip it out of the ground and run, or are we gonna try to like create something that resembles it? Or we
I
So-
feel like we're going to try and like basically saw a hole around it from underneath and just kablonk,
Okay.
and then leg it underneath the city somehow.
Right.
I feel like a like an empty subway car would somehow come into it.
Cool. So I think what Scoot's going to be doing at first is constructing scaffolding around it in a city maintenance worker uniform and a power washer, acting like he's cleaning all the art. So it's going to get obstructed so that you won't be able to see it. So I pull up in a white van with my overalls and my sprayer, and I'm building a scaffolding around it to hide it.
Okay, yeah. So what's everyone else doing as part of this plan or as kind of lookouts or whatever?
How
Sorry,
how
go.
much time are we planning to take for this heist? Is this going to be a couple hours, couple days, couple weeks? This is for the group. Or is it like 10 minutes and we're gonna be gone with it?
I would say that's completely up to you. You know, you can
Right.
kind of leave it very undefined, or you could say, oh, after this meeting, the writing on the bottom of the screen goes like 3 weeks later, right?
Uh-huh.
And we see Scoot in his maintenance gear. So the timeline is completely vague and up to you.
I would feel like from the time we met, it would be 10 to 14 days.
Because I could work my contacts at City Hall to get the permits for the cleaning and this, set up this kind of ruse that there's a cleaning crew coming in to do routine maintenance on the artwork and get that through papered. That way the police aren't concerned with some unusual activity around the statue in the park there.
Well, that sounds perfect to me as something that, in terms of all the prep work that goes in, that sounds good to me.
I would have been spending that same sort of period of time finding a similarly anonymous but much less well-known street artist to ultimately take responsibility for the disappearance of this as a fifth, even more daring artwork.
It's a David Blaine style street magic thing.
Exactly.
Or could you find someone to create a reasonable facsimile of it so that people don't notice it right away? Like a
or
decoy
that
of it?
or that facsimile like appears somewhere else in the city at the same
Yeah,
time you're stealing it, right? So
a protest work.
yeah.
Yes. So we have like a kind of protest art street magician activist who is gonna they're gonna kind of take responsibility for having translocated by magical means the artwork to a different place in the city. So yeah, someone creating a kind of styrofoam replica of all this to appear in the middle of
Times Square.
yes. What a comment.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. And how about Sung-hoon?
I think we see like scenes of Sung-hoon like going to the NYU library, checking out these dusty old books on like the original New York subway that no one ever looks at or reads, and then cut to like him underground with a flashlight in the books and like looking for tunnels and the points that maybe time has forgotten and have been lost.
Yeah, so there's the virtually unknown, unfinished, abandoned, Green North line that only specialist subway historians know about, right? Okay, cool. So I guess we have a good idea of the basic part of the plan. And now we roll engagement to see how that's going for you all. So in the dice room, I'm not sure if everyone is there. Let me run a link in the chat for you. So we're going to roll. I'm not sure if any of you have used Roll With Me before. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. There's a clock in there for the antagonists. It's a 12-segment clock. So depending on how well you roll in various scenes, we're going to fill this up. And when it gets full, the antagonists kind of strike and they are on the verge of victory. I put 4 dice in there, so you can re-roll those, no problem. You just click on 3 of them, and then at the bottom center of the screen there'll be like 2 symbols. One is a circle refresh to re-roll them, and the other is a bin to get rid of them. So we want to roll 3 dice for the engagement roll, and high is better. So who wants to roll those for us? Who wants to take blame / responsibility for your flying start? No volunteers?
I can handle it.
Okay.
All right, so you said to roll 3 of them?
Yeah, 3 of them.
All right, so that is a 4, a 5, and a 1.
Okay, cool. So on a 4 to 5, the crew is in a pretty okay place. Things might be a little off kilter, but it's going mostly to plan. As a table, discuss what it looks like and what caused you to stumble but not fall. So yeah, I guess what that means is that think like nothing is disastrous, nothing is prompting you to like pull the plug and get out. But everything isn't exactly the right. So maybe something has gone wrong with any one of those aspects. So yeah. I think what we can do with this is to like go around the table again and kind of have people narrate how their part of the plan is going, and maybe it's stuck or maybe it's unstuck. And like the what's going wrong can be like little things across the board or just like one big thing on one person's side. So I'm not sure if we want to discuss before we do those little vignettes of people.
I feel like I'm setting up my scaffolding and I start to roll out the plastic so it can cover it up. And some cops come up and start questioning me about what I'm doing and if I have the correct permits or not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. I think that's certainly trouble enough. So like what is everyone else doing? How's their side going? And like, do you notice this little divergence from the plan? And maybe it's fine, maybe it's expected, but maybe Scoot isn't like the right person to be dealing with.
I'm not the person to talk to cops.
Yeah, exactly. So let's I guess go around the table and find out what everyone else is up to. Let's start with Arthur.
I think I've been sitting with a newspaper and a coffee at some kind of a hole in the wall or street side joint that can furnish a view of the place. And my whole part of the plan was all accomplished days ago or so, I think. And so that's all ticking away nicely in the background. And I start seeing the cops approaching Scoot. And I know that's not necessarily the best position for him to be in. So I think my instinct would be immediately to call Anastasia and find out if she's anywhere in the vicinity, see if we can get this sorted out ASAP.
Yeah. So let's cut straight to Anastasia. So again, I presume like your part of the plan has gone swimmingly and all prearranged, but you get this call
there
from
were
Arthur.
some issues because there was going to be a concert at Battery Park on the day that we had planned to start our scheme in motion, and that delayed the permits for a little bit as I called up the right people, made the right connections, maybe paid some emergency additional fees to get things moving in our direction. And because of the delay, the police department, the local station wasn't notified of this activity, which is why they're now coming up to question. And but we do have the permits in place, and all the the proper authorities have been notified. It's just late.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, undone by bureaucracy, that is.
Yeah.
Too real.
That's right. Move slowly. Government moves slowly, even in a city like New York.
Sure. And how about Sung-hoon?
I think if it works, I'm gonna have a slightly different hiccup. I don't think Sung-hoon is necessarily involved with this police hiccup. I think on the day of, he's actually like running late. He's not where he should be in time because he realized he left home and he grabbed the wrong bundle of papers. He grabbed like his art portfolio by mistake, and so he got like halfway underground, right? And it's like it takes time to get in there and work your way in without being too noticeable. And he realized like, shoot, these are like my still life pictures of apples. These are not the subway maps. So he's rushing to go and get the proper maps.
Okay, cool. So do you want to be like arriving way too late, or do you want to get into some trouble on the way back with the maps?
Well, I'm always a fan of trouble.
Okay, let's go with that. So, okay, so I think let's start with Scoot. So these two cops from the local precinct have, come up to you and, what's going on here, pal?
I put on a really bad New York accent because I'm not from here, but I want to blend in. So I'm like, we got papers, we got the correct paperwork, and I'm like patting around my waist, and I'm like, I it must be in the car. Let me go find it.
So hold on a minute here. Nobody said anything about papers. We just asked you what was going on.
I don't. You know what? They tell you things. They tell me things. We tell each other things. Who knows? Let me go find the paper. So I go back to the van, and I immediately call Arthur, just like on the phone with him. I'm like, we don't have the paperwork. The cops are here, man.
You're muted.
Arthur, you're muted. I speak up.
These bloody modern cell phones. Right, so here's the plan. Keep him busy, keep him talking. I'm getting Anastasia on the blower stat, and we will get someone down there that outranks that street walking fella.
I got it. So I come back with this huge clipboard, like one of those metal clipboards that like folds and closes in, full of paper, and I just start handing him pieces of paper one after the other, being like, "Is this it? Is this it?" So I'm basically just stalling, wasting time.
So I think this sounds like you're trying to fox these guys.
Of course.
Now, so in any scene, you can like roll one action, and then someone else can use their kind of action to help you out. And if they help you, they give you one die. So yeah, I'm not sure who is in the better position to be helping either Arthur or Anastasia, I would say. Whoever we think can maybe talk Scoot through on the phone, or maybe even arrive on the scene in time.
I feel like I could show up and run interference at least while we wait for Anastasia to come down as the big guns, or to somehow arrange for the big guns to arrive.
So what we could do is have Scoot make the roll with help from Arthur, and then if that goes terribly, Anastasia arrives to to help things go.
Cool. So I have a 0 in Fox.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. So
normally that would mean you roll 2 dice and take the worst result. But with getting help from someone means you get up to 1 die.
So let's just, since this is the first time I've played.
Yeah,
before,
no problem.
So, since I have 0, I would roll 2 dice no matter what.
So you would normally roll 2 dice and take the lower result.
Okay.
With 0, but if someone gives you 1 die, you just roll 1 die and take it. So rolling 2 dice and taking the worst result is definitely worse than that.
Okay, so I'm only rolling 1 dice.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And again, high is good. So yeah, go first.
Here we go. It's a 3.
Okay, so that is a partial failure. They are, not really convinced by your paperwork or your non-existent paperwork or your whole kind of.
Well, I end up yelling at them, like okay. We just get into a shouting match, and it's almost to where we're pointing, like pushing each other with our fingers, but not quite at that point yet.
I have a special move that I can use on a partial failure.
Okay.
Called Talk Fast, Walk Faster.
Okay.
If someone partially fails in a roll, I can step in to talk through the plan I have for making this work in our favor.
Okay.
Awesome.
So the thing that happens on a 1 to 3, so on a partial failure, is that I add 4 ticks to the antagonist clock. So they are really jumping to action. If we were suspicious, we would think the 2 cops are actually from the antagonist team, right? So that would remove one of those ticks, which definitely helps. So yeah, why don't you describe how you step in? I guess essentially you are. I guess you're rolling Fox yourself for that. Okay.
Okay, so shall I roll that first?
Yeah, so you're rolling 2. Yeah, because you have to get a success, right? To remove that tick.
Gotcha. Okay, so
okay.
Fox.
That doesn't look too good.
Not great.
So, yeah. So why don't we? So Scoot, right, starts yelling at these cops, right, because they're interfering with his job or whatever. What kind of state does Arthur find them in, Scoot? Like, what are you up to when Arthur gets to the scene?
The clipboard is now on the ground with the paper strewn everywhere, and me and the cop are just yelling at each other. And I'm still really hanging on to that bad New York accent. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a terrible situation to be in. For then Arthur, you arrive and like give me your spiel. I mean, I guess we know as players that it's not going to work, but I want to hear the spiel anyway.
Okay, so I just rock up, just sort of tap the officer on the shoulder, just go, "Oh, officer, oh, it's terrible. Somebody's taken my bag, and it has my heart medication within it. Oh, this stressful situation could only end in tragedy."
And I think, your accent is, to their minds, just obviously fake, right? And they have this fake New York accent and this fake, Downton Abbey accent. And it's really, not, there's like jokers at every corner. Let's just bring these guys down to the station. And I think that is a good place for Anastasia to swoop in.
Okay, since Arthur had called me earlier and told me there's some problems, and I was trying to reassure him that the permits finally went through this morning. We should have everything all lined up. There should be no issues. I'll go down to the area. I wasn't there. I was uptown because I thought my part was done. I had grease the wheels, but there's the unexpected problem. I'll go down to the area and go to the local police station to find out what happened with these
Yeah, I
two
mean,
members of the crew.
Yeah, I don't know whether we want to have them actually down at the precinct or whether you can intervene
okay.
on scene. I leave that up to you.
Okay. It
Uh,
depends on how fast the cops are moving on getting this disturbance out of the area.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have you arrive in the nick of
Okay.
time on scene.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So I think, Anastasia is very good at talking fast and being charming, right? Unless you think you are trying to outwit these guys, or are you just trying to smooth things over?
I'm just smoothing things over. I'll show up again in a chauffeured car and step out dressed in another premium business suit, looking elegant and refined. Oh, I'm sorry, officers. The permits just came through today. There's the concert in the Battery, and that was that had all the attention over at City Hall. I filed the paperwork just 2 weeks ago and got the permit to clean the statues here. They've been, the center of some attention, and there's been some unfortunate graffiti that the city contracted my company to clean off to have this area, Wall Street, looking clean and perfect for all of the visitors. There's a lot of commotion. I'm sorry that the paperwork didn't get to the precinct on time. It was just completed this morning and put through, but I'm sure you can let my crew here get to work, and we're planning to have this finished in 3 days, which is extremely fast, which is why the city approved our permit and had it start today.
Okay, so I think all of the buzzwords you have definitely, this sounds like so familiar to them, because this is just more proof of how difficult the bureaucracy makes their job, right?
Yeah.
So I think you should roll fleece
Okay.
to fast talk them, to talk them off from putting their handcuffs back in their pouch.
I
So yeah,
have 2 in fleece.
okay.
Well, what does that mean?
So you're going to roll 2 dice
Okay.
in the room, and I guess hopefully the guy's luck doesn't rub off on you. Roll high and see
Can
how.
I roll any 2, or do
Yeah,
I
so you
have
can
okay.
click on any 2 of them and just click on the reroll icon.
Well, okay.
There you go. It's just the red dice you don't want to roll. That's
I see
what's going on. Okay, sweet. So on a 6, it's a straight success, and the antagonist clock does not move, advance, or retreat. So that's good. So yeah, why don't you kind of describe how you save Scoot and Arthur's bacon and get rid of these cops?
Well, I pull out the appropriate form, NYC 739546, section B, subparagraph 5, and show it there to the police officers. Thank you so much, officers, for being aware of what's happening in our city and making sure that everything is running smoothly and with the proper authority. But as you can see here, I do have the signature of the planning office and the cleaning office, and you can see here in triplicate, Con Ed has been notified. as well as the New York City Historical Commission. Everything is in order, as you can see. And once again, thank you for your service to the city, and on behalf of the residents, of which I am a proud resident of the city, again, thank you for keeping an eye. We feel very safe here. But please let my crew get to work, because we do want to finish on time and on schedule and not charge the city an extra $1 that would delay things, and also maybe take away from your retirement fund.
So I think they are suitably dismissed. I think they give Scoot a look because they're really not sure what his deal is. And I think for Arthur, they kind of offer to sit you down and call you an ambulance. If you are having a heart problem, they really don't want to see you die.
No, I think
on their watch.
I think my old ticker's gonna last just a few more minutes. I shall chase him down myself, officers. See you later.
I
sir, I can offer you this car and driver if you need to chase someone down. I think, officers, we've got the situation under control here ourselves.
Most kind young lady, let's be on our way.
Okay, so let's cut to Sang-hoon. And I think you are you rush into your apartment and dump your Apple portfolio and pick up your blueprints, and you're rushing back out to your bike or however you're getting to where you need to go. And I think your schoolmate Jeanette is just outside, just about to ring your doorbell. When you're like jump out of your front door.
And I'll just do that slide to a stop and Jeanette. Oh crap. It's right. Oh my God. Today is our study date, isn't it? Jeanette, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. I have a thing. I have a thing I have to get to.
A thing?
I can't really explain it. It's a project. I've got a special project that I'm working on for school, for our class.
Yeah, that sounds great. Let's go. I mean, you said you can't explain it, so show don't tell, right?
Okay, yeah. You got your subway card?
Sure.
Okay, let's go to the subway.
Okay. So, what's Jeanette's deal? I'm like, is she, in terms of her artistic style, is this completely meshed with Sang-hoon's, or is it chalk and cheese, or what's the?
So Jeanette is I picture actually a talented artist. Sang-hoon, I think, is someone who is more well, I shouldn't say is not talented, but more he's comic booky. He's very edgy, sort of that style, whereas Jeanette is more classical, and so I don't know, maybe they're both doing this study of still life together, which is not his thing, but it's more her thing. That's what she is good at, is this more classical style drawing.
Okay.
She's good at the class. You have to take it because it's a requirement for the course.
Yeah, it's a required course, and she's good at it. Sang-hoon maybe not so much, because he's more into comic books and web comics and more brutalistic style probably.
And how did the two of you end up as a study team?
Let's just say that it was teacher assignment, and Sang-hoon's had a crush on her for a while now, and it's just trying to handle that situation.
Yeah, cool. So So yeah, I think like you get this like chit chat and whatever else on the way to the subway, and like I think just as you're kind of wondering like this is where you maybe go off the beaten track, right? And you have like a service entrance or whatever to the secret subway line, and you know you're kind of wondering how do I I imagine you're wondering how do I break this? How do I introduce this as a topic of conversation? When she says, I was reading your latest like issue, you know, and I don't know, are there going to be vampires in this story? I really think there's going to be vampires.
Oh, that's a good idea. I vampires would be cool. Yeah, I could probably add some of those in. Hey, listen, you want to check something out real quick? Just we just gotta duck in here for a second.
Okay. And I guess this is, I don't know, marked maintenance only, or maybe not even marked at all.
I think there's like a maintenance, like a maintenance store that says, very clearly marked, like, supervisor or personnel only. And somebody's just like, hey, listen, hey, just trust me on this. It'll be neat. You'll enjoy it.
Okay.
And so I'll kick open the maintenance door, and maybe there's like this kind of tunnel, like pull back some things in a wall that reveals this like hollowed out area that leads to an old subway track that people have forgotten about.
So like she seems to be like interested in where exactly this is going. You know, it'll be a crazy story if nothing else, unless there are vampires down here. So yeah, let's cut back to the Wall Street crew. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. So I guess we've gotten rid of the first obstacle, so we're kind of in a new scene, right? But I want to know like how things are going and how late is Sung-hoon, right? Because there's going to be some kind of signal or some kind of handoff that he needs to be there for.
I think at this point, Scoot has completely covered the artwork, and he's now down below, lost, waiting for Sun-hoon to get there to help him find the space that's directly underneath the artwork.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's also a key, that concert that's going on, if it ends with a kind of fireworks finale, it's going to have enough noise and shebang to cover up potentially any subterranean detonations.
Yeah, unless they run late, with a few extra encores, so
fireworks over the Statue of Liberty.
Cool. So then for Arthur and for Anastasia, you're just making sure that the everything is still, all those wheels are still greased, right? And that your next steps are ready. Do you think there's any kind of sign then of your antagonists poking their nose in, or do you think you like see signs of another crew elbowing in on your turf?
Yeah, I think there's the obvious tourists to New York who are milling around the area, and of course, scaffolding and the plastic wrap. People are curious about it, but there seems to be a couple of individuals who are taking too much of an interest, more than the usual, oh, what's going on here, but are checking it out from all the different angles, and maybe we see them.
So do you think if we're talking about the rival crew being overseas, do we think they should be French? You know, maybe there's a connection with Philippe, you know, in your backstory.
Not Philippe.
No.
Though perhaps the bull would make a nice mascot for his vineyard.
Yeah. It's a good conversation piece.
Yeah, it would attract the attention. He's a proud Frenchman, very proud of the fact that France gave the Statue of Liberty to the U.S. as a gift, and now he wants to take something back since he feels France has never been properly thanked in art.
Okay, great. Yeah. So is it Philippe himself, maybe, that you notice, or is it some people that you know work with him?
I don't think Philippe is the kind to get his hands dirty.
Yeah. Okay.
He would hire.
He'd hire.
This
Yeah.
would be something he'd contract out.
Yeah. So definitely, you know, troublesome, and like you said, not just touristic interest, professional interest at what's going on. And Scoot is down below, so not able to shoo anyone away from looking at his mechanism.
This group of people, this crew, they're taking a vested interest. They're taking photographs of scaffolding. Who would do that? Even the most interested New York tourist doesn't want to take a picture of scaffolding around a famous statue. They would just wait for another day or something else. Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to do up top with that information, Arthur and Anastasia?
I feel like we kind of piece the whole puzzle together from kind of, maybe I recognize these from the art underworld, and kind of put together that they typically work in the Loire region of France, which is where Philippe is.
Putting two and two together and getting
That's right. And
37,
Philippe
right?
has often talked about his nationalistic pride of French art.
I think I have a theory then that we maybe if I put out a few feelers among my sort of contacts, which seems to be the kind of main thing that my class does, and discover that these people have been putting in permits for, like, no, that's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Okay, I was about to suggest putting in permits for like airspace permit, like they're bringing in a helicopter over New York. Is that insane? That sounds.
I love it. I love it. It's totally what's happening. I support that idea.
Completely ridiculous, obviously, so it must happen. You know.
Well, South Street Seaport is right there, and there's a few helipads there that commuters use to come. Well, rich commuters use to come in and out of the city. I think it's perfectly valid.
So if
There's
it's
going to be one of
Philippe has
these,
rented
like,
one.
It's going to be one of these really gigantic Sikorsky workhorses that with a winch on it that could lift a bull, right? It's going to be not your typical, you know, nice little helicopter for moving, you know, a handful of people around. Okay, so down below in the subway, you know, Scoot, you're waiting, getting impatient, and I think you see like two flashlights, two torches in the tunnel approaching you.
First,
which is definitely one too many, right?
Yeah, first, since I see two, I kind of hide back in the shadow, and then I'm like, oh, Sun Hoon, over here. Who's that?
Hey Scoot. This is Jeanette. She's a classmate. She's just checking out this school project that I'm working on.
Oh, okay. Scoot's a little too what's the word? He's very reserved around people he doesn't know. He's not that he's shy. He's just like, okay. Are you sure we need her help?
I feel like that's when Jeanette probably butts in and is just like,
Yeah.
no, I'm curious.
Are you? I haven't seen you in class. Are you like a friend of Sung Hoon's?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not a student. I like to. I love his art. I love his art so much, and I follow his
So do
comics.
I. I think.
So wait. Do you know where the ghost subway station is? Then
Well,
I get excited.
and I think
Scoot
like
gets excited.
obviously you can hear her, but she's still like saying it like it's a secret. I've seen him work on the next issue, and I think we're like
What happens?
near, like there's like vampires or something. I'm sure there's vampires.
Vampires.
Yeah.
And I look at him. I'm like, dude, vampires. Awesome.
When you look at Sung Hoon, he's like rubbing his head and just kind of like, yeah, enough about the comic, y'all. This is too embarrassing. Jeanette, really, like, there's not much more to see. I mean, yeah, should you maybe turn around? I mean, you've got other stuff to do, right? We'll meet up later.
I mean, you can't expect me to make my own way back to the main subway hall by myself, Sung Hoon. Like I want to see, and like I think she turns her flashlight up to the roof, and there's like the hole right up in the roof where the installation is going to come down. It's like what are we doing?
It's like interactive art. It's a new exhibit that we're working on. Scoot's he's actually a street artist. He don't tell anyone though. He's very secretive about his identity.
Oh,
I'm
are you Banksy?
No. I weld. I'm a welder.
Okay.
That's my medium.
Cool.
Iron and heat.
That's extreme. I mean, I just do like vanilla stuff. It's so boring. I've started working on this web comic.
All right.
But it's not ready.
Oh, you got to get it out there. Just got to put it out there.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
I'm looking at my watch and seeing the time, and I'm just like, so okay, Jeanette, if you don't mind, just like, can you stand over here for a minute? Scoot and I have to talk really quick.
So,
and I'm gonna
sorry,
step out of it.
I was just going to cut away, right? After that. Okay, cool. So up top, right? So the Philippe's crew are scoping out your installation, your setup, and I think you see, one of them is obviously, touching his earpiece to talk in French to his backup team, and I'm sure Anastasia speaks French, right? So you can make out what he's saying, and he's saying like, "Bring in the chopper," right? So what do you do?
Is Arthur still there? Are we together?
I feel like maybe we're sharing a G&T in your chauffeur-driven car.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, what should we do? What a complication. Philippe, he's double-crossed me.
My one thought is the old fake heart attack. Get out in the middle of there. I go down. You call in a medivac. And then surely they can't share airspace with a private helicopter. Tell me you've got a better idea, Anastasia. I'm not sure about that.
I was skeptical of that idea at first, since you've already tried the fake heart attack earlier today.
Quite true.
But that is something. We'll have the police who could testify that you were having heart problems earlier. Maybe, yeah, there's a stronger case here. but maybe we could pull them away somehow, distract them, get them away from here, because I think we've interrupted their plan. They couldn't have been coordinating for the same exact time as we were. How could they have known?
Didn't you say that concert was unexpectedly delayed to today?
Yes.
What if they were behind that?
Oh, to cause a distraction, to have crowds, to take crowds and tourists and people away, street traffic away from this area, and take them down to the park, to Battery Park.
And if that's the case, if we could undo all your hard work to make sure it goes ahead, so that it doesn't go ahead, maybe that would screw with their plans.
But the concert is starting in an hour. How would we do that?
There's the fake heart attack,
Yes.
or the bomb threat.
The bomb threat.
I'm leaning towards
Well, I
heart
don't
attack.
know. It's the bomb threat in New York City. We're really close to ground zero.
It's a dick move.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Arthur does have a little black notebook full of contacts who owe him a favor, right? So,
Yes.
I mean,
The police are already assembling there. They're out of sight. This was perfect timing, really. It couldn't have been any better with all the attention at Battery Park, and here we are, free to do what we need to do and get out of here with the distraction of that concert. Well, yeah, but moving the attention away from the concert also doesn't help us. We got to get the crew
That is
out
true.
of here. And I think we don't want the police scouring the area for a bomb threat. I think that would work against us. What if
Makes sense.
We should move up our timeline.
Do
We should
you
just move
think
faster.
do you think, Arthur, you could maybe arrange interest of another financer in France who might compete with Philippe on purchasing the artwork? Maybe that would make the crew conflicted. Maybe he could offer, I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm sure you know someone in France maybe who could throw a wrench into this plan.
Like that, we cut the connection between Philippe and his crew.
Yes.
Maybe I get one of my French associates to contact the crew, suggest that Philippe has set up a double cross,
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to be set up to take the fall for this. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I will
Cause
call
plant a
Laurence
seed of
Leblanc.
doubt. Oh, parfait. Set up some doubt. Make them delay. Make them question going forward. Maybe the helicopter's not paid for. Maybe they're waiting on a large transfer from Philippe. Something in that area. Take them out of the urgency of the situation.
I'll get to work.
Buy us some time. Yeah, great.
cool. So, that definitely sounds like foxing, so outwitting and outthinking the others by playing this ruse. Do you think that that Anastasia can help with that, or do you want to hold on to your action for the scene?
Well, I think it's an extreme action, and I'd like Arthur to weigh in. I could call Philippe also And but I think that could be our fail-safe if all
Yeah, sure.
breaks
Okay.
down. Yeah, that'll
Yeah.
hold my action then.
Okay, cool. So so Arthur, let's see,
Okay.
2 dice on this foxing. Okay, so
Okay,
is
looks
it
like a 5.
Yeah, okay. So a 5 is a partial success. I advance the Tiger's clock by 2. That puts them at 6 of 12. So yeah, I think a partial success at least throws a spanner in the works, right? They are not gung ho. What kind of effect do you think you want after that? Like you get onto Laurent Sylvain, this contact of yours, and he puts something in action. Maybe it's not an immediate effect, but it's improbably quickly, right? So within 10 or 15 minutes, something changes, right? What do we see happen?
I think from the car, even maybe we just see one of these tourists pick up his phone and begin to have an animated conversation in which if what I've asked Laurence to do is being followed, he has informed this operator that he's heard word on the grapevine that Philippe is not good for all the key deposits that he arranged to put down, and especially the final payment.
Okay, so yeah, I think like the lip reading that you can see this guy spouting angrily at Philippe does not match the subtitles. There's a lot more cursing going on in real life than there is in the subtitles.
Zutalor! Quel dommage! Maybe a little stronger.
And I think the kind of final ultimatum that he will be giving Philippe is like something: we will just stay where we are until we get word that you have credited the full amount to our Swiss bank accounts, right? No half measures anymore. This is too dangerous to mess around. So yeah, I think you see the two of them kind of walk away, and maybe they sit in the cafe that Arthur was in earlier, and order some terrible coffee, So yeah, I think like their timeline is still progressing in some ways, but they are just not doing anything until they hear back from Philippe. So okay, so I think that's a good end of scene. I think things are progressing nicely. How about we take another 5-minute break and then go on at half 25 past or so. Okay, cool. Okay, so I think we want to cut back to the subway, right, where Scoot and Sung-hoon are about to kind of pull the trigger on the actual theft, right? So why don't you describe like the mechanism by which you're getting the art down into the subway? Maybe first, right, from Sung-hoon's point of view, like, is there a disused subway car down here, or some kind of flatbed, or some kind of train to move it?
Yeah, I think it's probably. I think it's probably an old, like, flat cart. Maybe even one of those ones, right, with like the handles that you have to like manually do.
Yeah.
Because I imagine us getting a full subway car, probably pretty tough to pull off. But maybe we've got just like a flat cart to drop it onto, and then we're going to navigate it to some lost corner of the subway to hold it.
Yeah, cool.
I love
that. So from Scoot's point of view, like, what's the mechanism by which you're like taking it down from up on ground level down here?
So we'll flash back to me underground, basically rigging up miniature dynamite all around the parameter of the structure. And so basically we're just going to do a miniature demolition, and it's going to explode and just hopefully fall right down on the cart perfectly as planned. And then we just get out of there.
So like I think you've got some kind of a feed from the concert, right? So you know when those fireworks are going off for the big finale, right?
Yeah.
And so you're kind of looking at it very carefully, and you're getting a prompt.
Yeah, I have a move for this as well. It says with a bang. You may not sorry. You may not have a subtle method in you but you always have something. That doesn't make sense. Okay. Basically something's going to happen. It's going to end up being very loud.
Yeah.
And I get an extra dice.
Okay, cool. So yeah. So so you got these explosive devices, like mini dynamites, you said, like drilled into the roof of the subway, and like at the right time, you just like pull the trigger, and everything like drops perfectly onto your flatbed cart.
That's the plan.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, yeah. So, like, normally I would say, oh, you're fixing or breaking something, so it is kind of fix, right? You're using tech.
Yeah.
So.
Also, my move won't work in this case. That's okay.
So frag is like physicality and
right, fighting. Okay, cool.
But I guess that would bring you to 2 dice with that anyway. So your frag is 1, so +1 will give you 2, which is the same as your fix. So
got you. Understood.
Okay.
So rolling? Is that what?
Yeah. So roll 2 dice. I think if you wanted to, Sung-hoon could help, right? With whatever setup is with the subway car, or his knowledge of the subway. Maybe there's some extra advantage to that he can bring to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think at least one thing is like, yeah, we've got the mapped getaway route, right? Of like, okay, this drops, and then we're gonna take it down, and then there's a juncture we'll return, right? And like, because presumably we're gonna have to lose the trail of anyone that just jumps down the hole to try to follow like where this thing went. So
that's the bad thing about tracks.
Yeah. And also just for the fiction, I think I've probably told Jeanette, like, okay, look, what you're about to see, it's just remember, it's all performance art. This is all something that we've prearranged. So don't be surprised. Just stay here. It's totally safe. It'll be fine.
I toss her a little pack of earplugs, and I say, you might want to use these.
Okay. So yeah, I think she gingerly puts those in, and is stepped well back, because now like everyone is telling her to be careful, so she has just stepped back put her back to the wall, and keep her limbs in from anything really.
We've got like safety helmets we've pulled out, and so it's like, what's about to happen?
Cool. So I've got my little phone out, and I'm watching the live feed of the concert, and I'm waiting for the fireworks to start, and they start shooting off, and I'm rolling, and I got a 6 and 2 5s.
Okay, awesome. So a straight success. Antagonist clock does not make any ticks, so perfect again. Yeah, so why don't you describe how that
works? So I really wish I had one of those little plunger things to set off but it's 2021 at this point. So it's really just another button on my phone. But I go, boop.
I think maybe the app that you've written for it has like a little plunger, and you actually swipe down a little bit.
Okay, cool. So I really like that idea. So I definitely wanted the plunger. So I do that, and then one by one they just start popping, like pop, 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 and they circle all around really fast, and then the whole thing just falls directly down onto the box car behind us, and the smoke and debris just kind of settle, and Sun Hoon and I look at each other just like, oh my god, it worked.
So you would think that like a ton of concrete and tarmac and everything else, along with these really heavy statues, would like break whatever they fall on, but obviously not, because you rolled a 6, right?
That was what the airbed was for.
Yeah, so like the kind of the kind of full circle of that concrete and all of the kind of road that drops into it just falls away, and you're left with just this little plinth with the statues on top of the flatbed.
Yeah, I was very careful about how I placed the dynamite so the debris would fall out of our way.
Yeah, perfectly done. Right.
That's what you didn't see in the flashback earlier.
And like upstairs, back on street level, I think with that, hut, the kind of maintenance hut, Arthur and Anastasia see like, smoke appear, right? And you don't hear a thing because obviously the fireworks are obscuring all of that from Battery Park. So yeah, I mean, if you didn't know exactly what you were looking at or looking out for, you would not really notice anything. And I think in terms of the antagonist clock not going, yeah, I think the two guys who were here earlier as tourists, they look behind them when the fireworks go off. And so when they're looking away, they don't notice anything untoward happen inside the tent, right? So they are probably the only other people here who would know what they were seeing if they saw it, but they didn't because they looked away at the distraction, right? So it's all good. Yeah, so back up top, what's the plan in terms of covering up or getting away for Arthur and for Anastasia? I guess you're still inside the car drinking another G&T, right? So
maybe we've switched to champagne.
Are you just sitting up there drinking while me and Shohan are doing all the work?
Yeah.
All right.
Management style.
This is what we get the young people in for.
Exactly. Shall we, since it seems like phase 1 is complete, shall we travel up to Times Square for phase 2, the distraction?
Of course.
So the fake replica art installation should be going off now as soon as I guess is it like as soon as the tent comes down and people realize that the real art has disappeared, then the fake one, the replica, appears in Times Square. That's the timing you're looking for, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are we just leaving a big hole here in the ground, or are we gonna fill it back up with something, a plank, something?
Well, that's what the tent covering was for.
Right.
So there's just like a loud sound and it's still covered. Maybe everyone doesn't know that it's missing yet.
Right, not yet, but we're just gonna leave the tent comes down, it's just a hole in the ground.
Or do you want to do something really fancy with like quick dry
cobblestoning?
Yeah. I had a flashback of me setting up a kind of like a bunch of bags of like foam that just immediately opens and expands and hardens to super hard concrete.
Okay.
And then the last thing left on it is just like a kind of like a wet floor sign or something like that, but just with an artist's signature.
Cheeky, yeah, I like it. Okay, well, I'm not going to make you roll for that because that's just too good to to just leave behind. Okay, cool. So let's cut to Times Square, right? Where you are sorting out the fakery. So what your artistic contact, right, is here and setting up, and maybe they have exactly the same kind of tent, right, to cover the installation. And I imagine for this one, you probably don't, unless you do have the proper paperwork for this as well. No, okay. So this might require a little bit more finesse, right, to get through.
This is more of a guerrilla art piece that we
Yeah.
didn't want any paper trails or any advanced knowledge.
Sure. So what do you think the challenge is here? Is it to just run interference with the artists just to make sure that no one interferes with them while they're setting up?
Yeah, I'm glad the artist actually showed up. He seemed kind of flaky.
I think it's also to make clear to any authorities that might seek to interfere that this would be like stopping Banksy.
Yeah. This is
like-
definitely like a
Well,
free speech thing, right?
Right.
Yes.
It's a step above the naked cowboy. He's got a more salient message.
So yeah, I think there's Times Square, so it's going to be busy. There's a lot of people
Mhm.
around, a lot of people
Mhm.
wondering what's going
Mhm.
on. Maybe maybe your native New Yorker doesn't care and just keeps walking, right? But your tourists need something to look at, and this is
Mhm.
especially gawk worthy.
Mhm.
So I think like before you can even start to think about what you're going to say if the cops show up, you have like a semicircle of people pointing their phones at it, wondering what's
Yeah.
going on, right?
Which is perfect. That's a great distraction.
And then like maybe 15 or 20 minutes later, you get your first cop show up to wonder exactly what is going on here. So yeah, what do you want to do when he is about to poke his nose through that tent?
Arthur, I'm actually okay with it because I think the publicity is good for us. I think the distraction is good for us. If a cop is poking around, that's great. We should get news cameras here. We should draw all the attention here to this event happening in Times Square. That's fine with me. Let's get all the commotion and chaos, Arthur, unless you feel differently.
No, that works for me. I will, look in my little black book for like CNN's direct dial, which is also
Yeah.
available on their public website.
Okay, yeah. So how about, you are, I think, trying to outfox the authorities in terms of what's going on, right?
Yeah, make this a very public thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I think maybe you want to roll to fox. You gonna jump in to help Anastasia, or what? What do you think?
I can, yeah.
Okay, cool. So like, what's the seed or what's the story that you're hitting the media with?
I think we are hitting the angle, not just that a new street work has appeared, but although this is a complete fabrication, the authorities are trying to stop it.
Okay. Yeah.
Like we're making this a free speech thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's a very strong social statement on justice and inequity in this country, and it's addressing all of the social ills, and it's going to really sum up people's emotional experience of the last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, why don't you roll those 3 dice and let's see what happens.
Not amazing.
3, 4,
4.
4. Okay, so that is a partial success. I'm going to advance the antagonist clock by 2. So yeah, I think maybe those 2 guys back on Wall Street finally, wonder what's going on with the tent again, and maybe Philippe has put through those funds as promised, and maybe they're swinging into action again. But what does it look like in terms of your partial success? From Arthur first, and then maybe some extra detail from Anastasia.
I wonder if inadvertently the journalists are just that little bit sharper than I was expecting, and put together the fact that the appearance of this artwork is perhaps equally interesting as its disappearance from the other location.
Okay.
So news crews descend in both places.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
excellent. Yeah. And yeah, I think so. You see, maybe like in Times Square, you're not aware of this until it appears on a display. Disappearance of the Wall Street sculptures, right?
I may
Which
have
is
tipped
definitely
our
not
hand.
the Karen you expected to see. So let's cut back to our subway duo or trio, I guess, if we're counting Jeanette. You are pumping that hand cart, dragging along the art on the flatbed, and yeah, I think Jeanette is like less sure that you're on the level with her now that all of this has happened. I mean, she's not a fool. So Sung-Hoon, this seems like a de-installation and not an installation, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. So we're moving along, and I like John's recommendation earlier about like how Sun Hoon and I had set up a way of diverting the tracks to a different way so we can hide our escape. So as we are driving down the track, we veer off onto the side, and then we activate a faux wall that we had previously set up.
Yeah.
So it just kind of folds out from the side, and if you looked at it really closely, you would say like, "Oh, this is just like wood and styrofoam."
Yeah.
But in the dark subway, if you're moving quickly, you're not going to notice.
Yeah, sure. And if you were like a subway worker, you might say like, why does this track just appear into that wall? What's going on here? But for a regular criminal, they're not going to notice. Okay, so I think that's covering your tracks, right? From
Literally
the inevitable pursuit, now that we know that the news media know that the sculptures have been stolen. So I think that seems like a fix roll to me to set this up.
Is it just 2 dice?
Yes, it's just 2, I think.
Okay. I got a 6.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go.
It happened exactly as planned.
Yeah, exactly as planned. And you got a clicker, right? Again, or an app on the phone to.
Yeah. We go through it. And I just like I do one little. Boop, it's like a car fob.
Okay. Yeah.
That just closes the door.
And it looks pretty real from the other side. But yeah, it's just made from styrofoam or whatever. it talks a good game, but if someone pushes on it, it'll be seen for what it is pretty quickly. But in the dark, it's gonna pass, right?
Yeah.
And Yeah, I think Jeanette is now looking at you with even more suspicion because this is like criminal, in her mind at least, criminal mastermind level of preparation, which I guess it is, right?
Jeanette, what makes more sense here? That it's all part of a performance piece, like I said, or that I'm some kind of criminal mastermind? I mean, really, come on. You've seen me at school. I can't hardly, I can't, tell the French Renaissance style from early, pre-colonization. Please, I'm out of my depth.
Yeah, with the masters maybe, but not with the explosive theft train heist, whatever I'm calling this.
Jeanette, you're so funny. That's
I
hilarious.
am so funny, but I don't know what to say.
You'll see. Just it's all part of performance art. Let's think more on those vampires. And then I'll trail the conversation off from there.
It's the I'm not going to talk to you about this thing, but we will talk about something that everyone else on this train is interested in, and that will give me some cover for a while. Okay, so where are you guys ending up? Is this obviously this train line runs directly away from Times Square, right? This was the
Yeah, it actually runs directly to the ports.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Obviously, that's where we would go.
Yeah, that's definitely where you would go if you were planning this. Okay.
Yeah.
So back at Times Square, right? There's a lot of hubbub and furore, right? As the art installation is unveiled, and it's like, oh, gasp. And I think the news channel has got a split screen of the tent being torn down in Wall Street to leave this, caution, wet floor sign with the artist's signature, side by side with what looks like exactly those missing statues, right? But I think, as these things happen, Philippe's team are on the case, and I think you hear a very loud helicopter rotor noise hovering above you in the middle of Times Square, and you see your two ne'er-do-wells from Wall Street peering out the door at you, maybe about to rappel down, or who knows what they're up to. Anastasia, what do you do with this sudden arrival?
It's clear though that the replacement artwork is styrofoam, correct? Or does it look like it's the actual statue?
Yeah, I think the way you described it was it would look initially like it, but once anyone like the fake door, right, that guys have down the subway, it looks good, but as soon as someone touches it or does something to it, it's going to be, oh wait, this is not the real thing, right?
It's movie prop quality.
Yeah. So at the moment, it's passing muster, but probably won't for long.
Yeah, I think that's part of the allure and intrigue of it, is that it's fake, and hopefully, I'm hoping that those two other operatives are going to come down and take a closer look, because it's nothing that they can work with or steal, so it doesn't really matter to me. My concern is about Philippe, since I had told him that I had hope that I would be getting a large windfall and be able to buy a chateau close to him, and I thought he maybe wanted to see me more often, and now I'm starting to worry that maybe he found out and is purposely working against me because he doesn't have the same feelings as I do.
Did you tell him exactly which job you were doing, or?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't.
So, in terms of you suspecting his acting against you,
Betrayal.
is that
Yeah.
kind of healthy paranoia, or is that some kind of misgivings about the relationship?
It's both. It's our relationship has always had a lot of secrecy and just focus on the surface and the pleasure in the here and now. And I never felt that I could trust him, especially with any deeper feelings. And now it's all coming to the surface because I never suspected him of such behaviors or criminality.
I think Arthur has a terrible confession to make to Anastasia at this point, that she wasn't the first person that he came to about this job. I talked to a couple of art dealers among the French community about this job, and particularly about the real reason that I'm after it. Not for the worth of the art itself, but for the thing that is hidden inside the Wall Street Bull and always has been. And I'm now concerned that this has reached Philippe's ears and he's plotted this heist.
What is inside the bull?
That's a really good question. Not sure.
Secret military files.
The deeds to land in old New York.
Oh no, it's the deeds. It's got to be the deeds to land in France, right?
Oh,
The deeds to
yeah.
the
I don't know
chateau.
why, but it is. It's the deeds to a chateau.
One that happens to be right next to Philippe's
Right
vineyard.
by Philippe.
It's right by him. And he wants to expand his business and have a more international clientele and reach.
Dastardly Frenchman.
I thought he was a playboy, but he is actually a shrewd businessman.
We've got to stop him getting his hands on that bull.
So I think that the two operatives rappel out of the helicopter, and they land next to the bull, and they, as their original plan was, there is a big strap winch being lowered from the helicopter, and they are about to fix it to the bull. So what do you do, Anastasia?
I tell the artist, don't worry, this will make you more famous and more in demand. This will just cause the price of your art to go way up. It's all part of it'll be great for your reputation and amongst the galleries. But I'm actually not worried about that, again, because it's not the real thing.
Yeah.
That's fine. They can have this dummy one. I'll say, this is false, just like his love.
So I think, I think unless they're distracted or unless something happens, they're going to quickly realize that it is fake. Maybe even before they attach the strapping to it. I'm trying not to make them completely idiotic. So are you happy for them to discover that, or do you want to distract them somehow to make them not realize that it's a fake?
Oh, that's a good play too. Yeah. Yeah, I think yes. I think that would work well for us to distract them and try to prevent them from taking the artwork. Since this is Times Square and we have a lot of cameras and police around, I'm going to get the police involved and say, look at this crime in progress. Do your job. Come on, you've got to stop this.
Yeah. So I think that seems like a pretty easy fleece roll for you
Yeah.
to fast talk and charm the police into doing their damn job, right? This can't be legal. Okay, so yeah, fleece, I think, is the roll.
Okay, I have 2 on that. Okay. Ooh.
Ouch.
Yeah, they're more
So
interested in the Cookie Monster and Elmo than in the art.
not a critical failure, but it is a straight failure. Now, remind me of that talk fast, walk faster.
Unfortunately, that seems to trigger on a partial success.
Oh, I
Or
thought it was a
partial
partial
failure,
fail.
sorry.
Yeah, so
Sorry,
that is a
partial
partial
failure.
fail. Yeah.
Sorry, right. Oh, I do that.
Yes. So how do you, because there's 4 ticks left on the clock and a partial failure ticks 4. So if you succeed in this roll, you will stop them from filling their clock. So
Okay, well, I'm rushing around Times Square, rallying the New Yorkers to the site of the authorities trying to take some art that should stand. This is the people's art. We're arting here, and all that. I run around yelling in my really convincing accent that I don't have, but Arthur does, or possibly doesn't. Let's find out.
So
What was that? Sorry,
I guess this is Fox, maybe. Yeah.
A fox. Okay. A 4.
Okay, so that is success. Yeah, so you remove 1 tick from the clock. So that is back down to 11 out of 12. So teetering on the edge.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
And
could you explain the clock mechanic
yeah.
for
Sure. So when the clock fills, let me just pull up the rules to make sure that I get it correct. So when the clock fills, the crew has a few options to choose from. So basically when the clock fills, the antagonists are about to win, right? So you have 2 options when the clock fills. You either go off script to throw them off the trail. Like this could be a face-to-face meeting where you slip their grasp, a fake heist setup with just enough breadcrumbs to confound them, or anything else you can imagine. You narrate the scene, or you have someone else take the fall, or someone take the fall. You can, basically put one of you into kind of permanent trouble, leave someone out to dry in order to kind of take back control of the mission from them. So yeah. So that's what happens when the clock fills. You got a chance to kind of step in one last time to kind of mess up their plans. There also may be some special moves that allow you to do that. I mean, technically, right, the talk fast, walk faster has kind of done that in the nick of time as well. So to keep them away from filling up that. Okay, so how do you think? So when you kind of, the way you describe it, right, you're trying to get the people to prevent them from taking it. So does that mean that it's too hot for them, the cops are here, there's like a angry crowd, so they winch back up and fly off in a helicopter and
yeah, I think there's a moment that they're trying to get their winch towards it, but like I've got one arm linked with a Tin Man and one arm linked with a I don't know, Ronald McDonald, I don't know, whoever. And we're just in a circle around this monument, just going like, the art stays. And they're just like, no, this is too much.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, let's cut back to the subway. And I think you have gotten, again, there's like a disused tunnel opening up right next to a freighter or something like this in the docks. So yeah, this is, I guess, where things get a little tricky, right? Because you gotta get the art on your ship, without attracting the attention of this helicopter that are now flying away from Times Square and maybe going back to their landing pad near the docks.
I was kind of thinking that because of that very reason about it being so massive, that getting it out immediately would not be the thing to do, is to like stow it away for a few weeks till
till the heat dies
heat
down.
till the heat dies down. So like we could like try to get it into like a shipping crate and get that crate just kind of buried in the stacks of all the other shipping crates.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that? Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah, and get it put in some warehouse, alongside
Take
the
it
Ark
to
of the
Port
Covenant.
Elizabeth in New Jersey.
Yeah, I like the idea that it's like we've probably thrown like a tarp over the whole thing, and we've got some like cat construction vehicle to try and move this thing to a shipping crate. We're gonna stick it on a boat to take it to New Jersey, where it'll sit for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and then we'll sell it, and move it from there.
Okay, cool.
And I've paid off the appropriate longshoremen to make sure that they look the other way.
For sure.
So
yeah.
I misjudged the time that we were going to play tonight. I thought we were only playing 3 hours.
Okay.
So I actually have to run, and I apologize for that.
So can we like wrap up in 5, or do you really need to go now?
I need to go. I got people like actually on my front porch right now.
Okay,
so.
sure.
So I'm sorry, but I had a great time playing with you guys.
No problem. Thanks for playing.
Get out alive.
Sorry about the mix-up on time.
No, it says it right here. I'm looking. I just didn't put it down on my calendar. So thank you guys. I had a great time.
See you, Clint. So, so let's. So how do you think you're going to work the kind of the setup on boxing this? Do you think this is like a? I think this is probably something like. So Anastasia has done the paperwork for the longshoreman, or the bribery for the longshoreman. So it's just a question of you making that happen. So yeah, I think this sounds like outwitting your antagonists who are chasing you, and then maybe anyone on the docks officially who might want to see you fail, right? So I think that's a Fox role to get this packing container put in the right place and look very unsuspicious.
Well, that's good, because that's the only thing I have a number in. And so I have 3. So that means I roll 3 dice and take the highest. Is that right?
Yeah. You well, actually, like if you talk about crits, you actually count all the dice, but basically you take the highest. But if you roll 2 6s, it's even better.
Ooh. All right. Let's see. Nope. 6, 5, and a 2.
Oh, just 1 6. So yeah, that's really good. The clock does not advance. So why don't you describe where this box ends up?
Yeah, so I think, like we said, there's a tarp probably thrown over the whole piece, and we take this construction equipment to pick up the slab that it's on and move it into a shipping box. And there's this person on the dock who just knows, okay, crate box 1-A7X. Oh, that's going on this one over here. And Sung-hoon is just gonna kind of like, Jeanette, you ready to go do that study date now?
Yeah. And I think I feel like that role is good enough, and fictionally, right, the heist is in a place where we can say it succeeded, right? Like if that had been a 4 or 5, the antagonist clock would have filled and we would have had a whole thing at the dock. But a 6, I think, leaves you free and clear. And we don't get to find out if Jeanette is double crossing you or what. If that sounds about right to you guys. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. So I guess you get the hole. You make it out. So yeah. So what we do now is everyone has an epilogue. You narrate yourselves, however far down the tracks as makes sense to you. You get your take, you relate it back to your cornerstone, and you kind of tie a bow in it, and maybe leave something open to imagine a sequel, right? So yeah, if anyone has a strong idea, they can go first, or otherwise we'll just go in the usual order.
I know what I would like Arthur's epilogue to be, but it involves everyone, if that's okay.
Okay.
And
yeah.
obviously but just the moment when Arthur and his son come to visit Anastasia at her chateau, and Arthur has arranged one final surprise as they sort of sit sipping champagne, as is their wont. He just hands Anastasia a pair of binoculars to look over to Philippe's chateau, where he's arranged for the styrofoam bull to be delivered to Philippe.
Nice.
Get to see him throw his beret and
Stomp on it.
Stomp on a grape. Stomp a few grapes. Magnifique.
Exactly. He goes off to stress stomp some grapes.
Cool. Elizabeth, how about Anastasia?
Arthur was exactly what I was thinking, is that through luck and determination, the deed to the vineyard came into my possession, the one next to Philippe, and I've broken off our relationship and have now that I have a legitimate stream of business and income, I am working to make my vineyard, a rival vineyard to Philippe's, more successful. And and I've cut off all contact with him, but I'm very happy to see him frustrated and upset.
Perfect. And John, how about Sung-hoon?
And so did we say the whole gang came out together in France? Is that right?
Yeah,
I do like that idea if you wanted to.
Sure.
And so I think shortly after their departure and Sung-hoon's departure from Paris, news surfaces of a new, very provocative installation by our unnamed street artist, and it just makes you wonder.
In Paris. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So I guess that's that. Nice little blog to finish things off. I've finished recording. So thanks for watching.